Sanam Naraghi Anderlini joins me now from London. She's the founder and CEO of the International Civil Society Action Network, as well as an author and peace practitioner. Sanam, great to have you with us. The protesters are clearly not backing down despite the violent crackdown. Security forces, reportedly shot live rounds at demonstrators on the 40th day after Mahsa Amini's death. As an Iranian, where do you feel that this is heading?
So first of all, I wanted to express my condolences to all the families of those who died yesterday in Shiraz and others that as you said, they're live rounds. It's an incredibly emotional time for all of us. It's like a roller coaster of high hopes and very, very deep fears in terms of the levels of violence and the detentions and what's going on in jail and so forth. Honestly, I think that if anybody has the answer of where this is going, we would need to question it because we don't know where it's going. It has been gathering steam, as you say, and everybody is watching as the days go by. But it certainly seems to be persistent. It certainly seems to be widespread, and with every other story that we hear of a young person being killed, it gives it fuel. So the violence is actually, I think, strengthening the resolve of the protesters.
Day after day, we are seeing demonstrators on the streets, but also in these schools and these university campuses. It would almost seem that the students are the driving force behind this.
It's definitely same as you're saying. It definitely seems very much that the young people are involved. It's a generational issue, but it's also about, I think, a dam bursting of a multi-generational level of frustration coming out, specifically around the questions of how women are treated, how the law being so discriminatory against women, despite the fact that we do see women across in public life at high levels in the private sector, of course in universities and so forth. But the discrimination is entrenched in the law. So and this has been going on for 43 years. So it's almost like a dam has burst, and this generation is taking it to the next level.
Sanam, hundreds have been killed, according to human rights groups. Thousands arrested, and no doubt these are very conservative numbers. But do you get a sense that security forces, perhaps in some provinces, are backing off when it comes to the videos that we're watching of women, burning their hijabs or just simply not wearing their hijabs?
It seems to be that on the question of the hijab itself, certainly we're seeing images, at least right now, of women being able to be out in public in different places. And that may be one of the longer term gains. The real issue, and I look at this from a sort of a global perspective when you compare it to other places, is that these things, these types of incidences and protests, ebb and flow a great deal. If you think about what happened in Sudan a few years ago, it was, women were at the forefront of those protests. The government did come down. There was a transitional process, and then there's been a coup again. Or if you look at Myanmar, or you look at Egypt or Yemen, it's the surge of the public presence can change things, but you can't underestimate the responses and the systemic and structural forces that are there that will be a big wave back. So these are some of the things that when we look at other countries, it's also worth bearing in mind.
Sanam, does the regime care that the world is watching, that there is an international spotlight on them right now? Because obviously, we are watching these videos of this brutal and bloody crackdown. So do they care?
I think that there are probably elements that care and elements that don't care, and this is one of the issues that is important to be considering when we talk to when we see what the international community is doing. The public in Iran have consistently said, echo our voices, be there for us, maintain connectivity in terms of the internet and so forth. So obviously the public wants the attention. I think that one of the risks that we have is that if you don't have the attention and if you don't shine the light and if embassies were to close, then you really don't know what's going on. And it becomes a little bit like North Korea or Venezuela or, these other places where the attention just diminishes, the world moves on. So I think from the standpoint of the public, there's certainly demand and a wish for more attention. And from within the regime, there are those that might say it would be better if there was no attention at all.
That definitely is not going to happen, considering the Iranian diaspora out there in the world being as vocal and as strong as what it is, which you are clearly amongst them. Sanam, do these female-led protests, yes, there are men and women out there on the streets, but this is predominantly female-led. Do they fill you with hope?
Yes, I mean, I can't. They certainly fill me with incredible pride to see the courage of these young women going out there. And it's a very unifying force, because it's the identity, you know, the gender identity of coming together as women across the country, across generations, across different ethnic groups and so forth, across different classes. All of that is a strong unifying force. And I think the other aspect of it that we see in Iran that maybe we haven't seen in other countries is that the men are with them, and that makes a big difference. It's also different generationally. 3 generations ago, when women were protesting in Iran, but the men weren't necessarily standing alongside with them. So the fact that it is women, that in itself is a unifying force. The fact that the men are there is also remarkably kind of certainly gives hope and pride. But it also, you know, as someone who has worked on conflict areas and in contexts where we see these issues, I have to also be cautious, because we don't know what's happening in the detention centers and in the prisons. And I go to sleep at night and I wake up thinking about what's happening to those kids. It's a lot of young people, what's being done to them. And of course, it requires an investigation. And there has been a call for a UN investigation into the detention. So, you know, it's, as I say, it's very mixed emotions, I think. And from the diaspora, we see a lot of anger, which is, again, understandable. But we also need to be cautious, because if you want to maintain international attention, you also have to be cognizant of what the different dynamics are, from, you know, in terms of the European policies or in terms of the US policies and so forth. So the emotions are riding high at the moment, and I think that along with the pride, I do think we also have to have levels of caution and thinking for the long term as well.
Sanam Naraghi Anderlini, wonderful to speak to you. Thank you for sharing your thoughts on what is clearly a very distressing time for the Iranian diaspora. Many thanks.